thanks for tuning in to another episode of Pioneer Survival Company. I'm your host, Sean Seitz. In our very first video, we talked about ways that you could go out into your backyard and find medicinal plants and herbs. I'd like to expand upon that discussion today by actually showing you a few common herbs and how to make a tincture. The tincture we're going to be making today is a variation of two different tonics that I've researched over the past year, the Master Tonic and the Four Thieves Tonic. The Four Thieves Tonic has a varying history of origin for its name. Both versions of the story tell of four thieves that were plundering houses in France during the plague of 1910. Interestingly enough, none of these thieves got sick as they were taking a homemade herbal tonic. Eventually the law caught them, and this is kind of where the story changes. In one instance, it says that they were sent to bury the dead, and only those taking the tonic actually lived to tell the tale. In the other version, they were caught, and they were offered leniency by the court by actually giving the recipe to the tonic to the law enforcement officials. In any case, just a fun little story. Also, the Master Tonic is also called the Cure-All. In any case, both of these tonics are good for preventative health maintenance and also for supporting the immune system. Let me just show you a few of the items that we're going to be using today. You'll need a bottle of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. We also have a full onion, a full clove of garlic. You're going to need some ginger. I also have some lavender petals and some cloves. You're going to need a large glass container. I have a 32-ounce mason jar and also a couple apothecary bottles. Furthermore, you might need a shredder and a paring knife. And then just some of the final things that we have. We have rosemary, thyme, oregano. We have a little sage, lemongrass, honey for flavor. We've got some jalapenos and some horseradish. Alright, so what is a tincture? Well, tincture is a liquid extract made from herbs that you can take orally. We're going to be using it in a medicinal form. They are basically extracted through a solvent such as alcohol, or in this case, we're going to be using apple cider vinegar. Alright, so here's an example of a clove. As you can see, this is a dehydrated clove bud. They're high in antioxidants such as vitamin A and beta-carotene. They're also antiseptic, anti-inflammatory. They do have warming properties, and they help with digestion and blood pressure. Alright, so the next herb we're talking about here, the lavender blossom. I'm trying to get you close for that. Aids in digestion, it's anti-inflammatory, it's a natural antidepressant, and it's also very rich in antioxidants. So the next one we're looking at here is ginger. It's antimicrobial, it supports the immune system, it supports digestion, and it also has warming properties. Now in order to process this down, you can see that it has like a potato-like peel over the outside of it. Kind of scaly. What you need to do is simply break this up into smaller pieces. And then you can simply get your knife and just peel it like you would a potato. And then you can just take the piece, you can take a grinder or a grater, just run it over it, and then if you have a container, it'll go inside your container. If not, you can collect it later. Also, if you're in an outdoor setting, you could just use a rock or something to grate it up. And when all's said and done, this right here is the final product. We just have a real fine grated ginger right there. Smells good. Alright, the next herb I want to talk about is thyme. As you can see, it's just a long stem with these tiny little leaves on them. Thyme aids in digestion, it's antibacterial, it reduces blood pressure, it's also a cough remedy, it's an immune booster, and it's an antifungal. The easiest way that I've been doing to process this, so I just have my container right here, and I hope you can get a pretty good sense of what I'm doing. I just hold the stem by the top, hold it over my container, and I just run my finger straight down. So you can see I've stripped that stem right off into my container. So with the rosemary here, it's basically just you can see it's a stem with just the little alternating leaves. It's warming, it helps to stimulate circulation. It dispels colds, it relieves exhaustion. Some evidence has showed that it even helps to improve memory. In addition to all that though, this is also anti-inflammatory, it's antifungal, it's antibacterial, and it's an antiseptic. Similar to just how we processed the other one. We're going to get our container here, and more or less, I'm just going to pluck these tiny little needles right off of the stem. Just like so. And then I just fill my container up. Alright, so once again we have this, as you can see, another long-stemmed herb with little round leaves this time. Has a very strong odor to it. I mean, it smells like Italian restaurant, obviously, because oregano's and pizza and everything. This here is good for treating respiratory tracts, cramps, urinary tracts, digestion. It is antibacterial. It is antiparasitic. It is antiseptic. It is antiviral. And it also helps stimulate the immune system. Just like all the other ones, processing is very easy. I just hold the top of the stem and I slide it down and just basically strip the stem of the leaves. Alright, so what we have here is the sage. It's a little bit larger. As you can see, it has the large leaves and the texture is very soft. It's almost like a velour when you rub your finger over it. Sage is a very good herb as well. It's a stimulant, it's a diuretic, it's an expectorant, it's an anti-inflammatory, it's an antioxidant, and it's also an antimicrobial. So all of these herbs are just fantastic. Now when you're processing this down, what I like to do is, since the leaves are so large on these, I just break off the big pieces of the leaves. Then I basically just kind of put them all together and just start ripping them into smaller sections. There you go. Alright, so as I said, this is lemongrass. It's antibacterial, antifungal. It also aids in the immune system and also helps with your kidneys. This one here is tubular, and it's got a hard stalk on the inside, and then it's almost like an onion. So basically, I just kind of peel off the hard stalk, and when I get down to the softer material, I just took a knife and just cut this into about half-inch sections, and then I just threw them down in my container right here. So nothing special with this. Basically, this one here you just chop up. Alright, I've got the horseradish root here. This really is an example of a rooty vegetable, kind of like potato or something. As you can see, it's got the softer inside, and then once again, it has that hard root exterior. Basically, in order to clean this or to process it down, you're going to need to take a knife and just kind of cut off the outside. Here's an example of one that I already did. As you can see, I trimmed off all of the hard exoskin and just got it down to the inner root material. This right here is antibacterial. It's a natural antibiotic. It has warming properties and it boosts the immune system. It's antiparasitic, and this can also be used as an expectorant. And once again, I took the grater that I showed you earlier, and I just grated that root up, so it's just real fine now. It's real fine and grated up. Alright, moving towards the end of our shopping list here, we got just some standard jalapenos. Basically, this recipe calls for any sort of a hot pepper. Doesn't have to be jalapeno. Basically, get the hottest pepper that you can tolerate. Ultimately, you're the one that's going to be taking this thing, and if you cannot handle, like, do not get a super hot pepper if it's not going to be something that you can take, because you're basically just wasting it. So get the hottest pepper that you're going to be able to tolerate. Like I said, I just got some small jalapenos here. They have warming properties, support the immune system. They're a natural decongestant. They're also a natural pain reliever. So I got these. I could have went a little bit hotter, but I think jalapenos pretty much, they have a pretty good heat to them, so I think it'll do fine. And then I just took the jalapenos and just chopped them up and put them inside the bowl. Nothing really special here. Just had a whole onion that I chopped in half and then diced into smaller pieces here. Basically, this is just a white onion, and it improves immunity, blood sugar. It also is an anti-inflammatory. It helps to lower cholesterol, and it is an antioxidant. This is just your typical garlic clove. As you can see, it's got this husk on it. Basically, you peel that off, and once you peel that off, basically get down to something like this, where it's got like another thin layer on it, and you can break it into different pieces. And then you further process that down by peeling off this outer layer, and then you just get the garlic clove here, which you can dice or mince up, and that's exactly what I did. Now the garlic's another one of those super herbs out there too. It's antibacterial, it's antiviral, it is antifungal, it is antimicrobial, and it also helps support respiratory system and immune system. So the garlic is a very versatile herb as well. Then we're going to tie this all together with some raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Now this is organic raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar. You want to make sure that you get the stuff that has the mother in it. The mother is the cloudy, murky stuff that's floating around at the bottom. If you buy any of the other stuff at the store, that stuff's all filtered, and most of the beneficial properties that you get from getting an unfiltered vinegar with the mother in it is going to be basically processed out. So make sure that you just get some good old-fashioned unfiltered apple cider vinegar, and it's going to be strong and it's going to work best for you. Vinegar is awesome as well. It's an antiseptic, it's antifungal, and it also helps support your immune system. So, with that being said, and now that I've discussed all the herbs that are going to be in this recipe, how about I actually show you how to tie it all together and make your tincture. So the first thing we're going to want to do is make sure that you have a container of some sort. As I said, I'm using a 24-ounce mason jar, and this is what I'm going to make my tincture in. Now, my recipe calls for 13, well actually I made this recipe myself. So, to make it very simple, there's 13 ingredients, and it is 1 part for each ingredient. If you don't know what a part is a measurement. And a part can be anything. It is whatever measuring implement that you want to use. So if I want to have 13 parts, that means I want all 13 ingredients to have equal parts. And what I did was, I just used this wooden shot glass as my part. And then from here, I'm basically going to go ahead and get all the materials that I've already previously processed, and I'm going to dump them all up in here. So I'm going to take this and just kind of shake it around a little bit just to get it all mixed up. This has a very strong odor to it. It's going to be very potent. And then what you want to do is get your apple cider vinegar, and you're going to want to fill it up to about 3/4 of the way, so you want it to be over top of it. We want to get everything covered by the vinegar, because the vinegar is not going to spoil. It's going to be what keeps your tincture from going bad, the high acid levels in it. So we're just going to swish it around a little bit. we want this to settle as much as possible, so we don't want a bunch of stuff floating. We want everything to try and settle on the bottom as much as possible, because we want all of this stuff submerged down into the vinegar. Alright. Now after I've got everything in there and I filled it up and I've tried to push this down as much as possible, I want to just go ahead and top this jar off all the way. Alright, so I have some plastic wrap here. Now vinegar is very acidic, so you actually, I'm going to screw a metal lid on top of this. And you don't want the metal touching the vinegar, because it will could cause it to rust out or cause it not to seal very well. So I'm just going to stick this plastic wrap on top of it. And then I just have my lid, which I have screwed on. And then I'm just going to shake this. Alright, we're pretty much done with this. So what you're going to want to do is just take this, put it in a dark, cool area, just let it set for about a month. And you could probably get by with about 3 weeks. But basically, every day or so, when you happen to see it, just pick it up, give it a little shake, just so that it doesn't settle in one area. And it's pretty much good to go. Now, just obviously I just made this. It's going to take several weeks for it to be ready. Tinctures take a while because we really want all the properties to soak into this vinegar. But when you're done with it, you're going to have all of this gunk in there, and you're going to need to strain this off because you just basically want the liquid to drink. And you can then take that, get yourself an apothecary bottle of some sort, pour it in there. This is going to make one really large bottle, or probably about 3 of these size bottles. This is going to last you the entire winter. And basically what you want to do is just take a teaspoon every day. And there you have it. It's good for colds, it's good for flu, it's good for coughs, congestion, basic... Oh man, I can smell that stuff, it's strong. Basically it's good for just about anything. So, I appreciate you watching the video. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel. You can also find us on Facebook. Please feel free to like us at Pioneer Survival Company. We're also on Instagram at Pioneer Survival Company. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to email us at pioneersurvivalcompany@gmail.com. Thanks a lot, and I will see you soon.